Let me take this opportunity to thank for all you who come here today. We will have our faith leaders and our community leaders and different organizations will express a statement, but I would like to have this opening. The United States was built by the belief in liberty, freedom, and equality for every person. These are the values we hold most dear. It is indeed sad when elected officials and political leaders build their platform on hatred and bigotry. They do so at our country's expense. This rhetoric is not merely ignorant, it is dangerous. We come here today to call on an end of racial profiling and discrimination of any kind against Muslim Americans. As many of you know, and the media reported widely, Andrew Rawls, spelled by R-H-O-D-E-S, an employee of Transportation Security Administration, stated, according to New York Times, that Somali American travelers who come and seek help are being singled out for screening through National Security Database for terrorist ties.
The Minnesota Muslim community, and particularly the Somali American community, are troubled, concerned about the recent revelation of profiling of Somali Americans by the TSA in Minneapolis. These revelations are particularly concerning because the TSA is targeting individuals who are seeking assistance, remedies for travel difficulties that they may have faced. The TSA in the past have worked with us and other organizations in Minnesota and have asked for members of our community who have difficulties to come to these offices as a basic level of outreach. And now we are learning that they are coming under a certain form of profiling because of their faith, because of their ethnicity. Racial profiling is unconstitutional, immoral, and it's against underlines the core of our principles of our democracy. We are requesting, and CARE Minnesota has sent a letter on this past Friday. We are requesting an independent investigation by the Office of Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security to investigate the reports of racial and religious profiling by the TSA officers in Minneapolis. We request the OIG office to conduct an investigation of all Minneapolis-St. Paul TSA officers' programs and operations for racial and religious profiling of American Muslims. We recommend that this investigation be conducted in parallel with the current investigation by the department's own Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Office. I would like to take this moment to extend our deepest gratitude, appreciation for Mr. Rhodes for standing up against discrimination and protecting the integrity of the TSA. We are proud of his courage and his faithfulness, and we hope that he's a model for law enforcement officials. We also like to thank the elected officials who responded swiftly, including Congressman Ellison, Senator Franken, and the Mayor of Minneapolis, Mary Betsy Hodges. And we encourage others to do the same. The current rise of Islamophobia in our nation is a threat to our core American values. We cannot allow our own government to engage and fuel Islamophobia by treating and targeting Somali Americans as a community of suspects. Casting suspicion on all Muslims plays directly into the hands of our enemies to keep our families safe and our nation united. Americans of all faith must stand together and uphold the values that make our nation special. Finally, I ask all Minnesotans to stand up against all form of discrimination. Thank you.
Maanta halkan waxaan u joognaa in aan ka hadlayno oo aan diidayno in hay'adda la yiraahdo TSA oo ah hay'adda gaadiidka iyo nabadgelyada ay Soomaalida ku samaysay isir sooc taasoo ah soomaalida marka la baaro ama lagu dhibo aeroboorada marka ay safrayaan oo ay dalbadeen caawin sababta ay arrintani u dhacayso ama ay uga baahdaan xafiiska TSA-ga caawin in isirsoc lagu sameeyo oo la yiraahdo soomaalida intaan la caawin hal la baaro inay yihiin argagixiso annagoo ah Somali American dad muslima halkan degan arrintaas waa arrin aan aad u diidanahay aan ka dalbayno dawladda nooc kasta ay noqoto in arrinta iyada ay ku qaado tallaabada ku habboon waxaana dalbaynaa in la sameeyo baaritaan madax bannaan TSA-duna inay joojiso arrinta iyada maanta aad baad mahadsantihiin.
And Islamophobia is irrational fear and hatred of Muslims, but unlike other phobias, this one is different because it doesn't punish the phobic person, it punishes the Muslims. And so, for example, if I have agoraphobia, fear of open spaces, it's recognized that this is an irrational fear on my part, and it doesn't punish the open spaces that I'm walking around with this fear. But Islamophobia is a real problem, not so much for the Islamophobes, but more for the Muslim community. So we need to all stand together and resist this rising tide of hatred.
For me, liberty and justice for all isn't an empty phrase. My family moved to the United States because it's supposed to be the greatest country in the world. As American, we have the amazing privilege of living in a democracy where systems of power can be challenged. I strongly believe that we have a responsibility to ensure that liberty and justice is extended to everyone. Muslims, including myself, have experienced harassment, humiliation, physical attacks, and damage to property, and all-around abuse. Traveling is a traumatizing experience for me and many in the Muslim community. I feel on edge and even fearful when I travel because I know that I'm being looked at suspiciously and that not because I've done something wrong, but because I'm one of 2 million Muslims living in this country in a post-9/11 era.
There is no place for racial profiling. There is no place for innocent citizens and residents of this city to be marginalized in such a way, and especially to be marginalized by our own government. The TSA is part of Homeland Security, and I welcome Congressman Keith Ellison's call for the Homeland Security to do a full and thorough investigation into this matter and to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And what we want from the TSA is reassurance that our members, especially the Somali American and the East African Muslim community, will not be targeted in this way ever again. Now, I have a press release coming out today from my office, and also I'm going to instruct our city staff, our city attorney's office, and our civil rights department to look into ways that the city can take action to protect its residents.
I want to start off by saying why Black Lives Matter is here. I want to make it very clear that Africans are also Black lives, that Somali people are also Black lives, and that we are all in this together. Black Muslims have been facing racial profiling for decades, just the same as Black African Americans have been facing racial profiling from the police.
But what bothers us is lack of direct engagement to address and find the right solutions. Yes, we're demanding an independent investigation. And yes, we're demanding discussions that will occur within the community so that the TSA can come and speak to us of what has happened and what we know so that we can all be well informed of what happened. I agree with our Congressman Keith Ellison. I agree with Senator Al Franken. I agree with our mayor, but there's more to be done.
I'm here today as an imam to witness the heroic work that Mr. Ross has done. If you have seen in the reports, I'm the imam that was mentioned as one of the imams profiled. I'm the one who visited his office to witness with couple files asking help because they go through highly scrutiny process when they fly. And one of them, that process affected his family in Africa. That immigration visa process was going on, and that process was suspended because his name was put in the system. And I went to Mr. Ross and I explained all the situation. And I explained to him that we imams help this country and we are protectors of this country because by faith. Prophet Muhammad commanded to protect our neighbors, it's by faith. And this person that I was with me that time, the person that was complaining, is ready to answer every question to make sure and clear his name.
Yes. And what happened was, they encouraged us, they came here to apply this kind of program, and we applied. I was one of the people who really went there and put my application forward for the global entry. But I was rejected, the reason that I don't understand. We didn't know at the time this is happening. I think one of those other people that who applied also the global entry was rejected by reason that really didn't make sense. So now we know what is happening now. And I think this damages the relationship between the TSA and the community, and we have to work hard.
First of all, I welcome all the correspondents, all the people who came here on this mosque as the imam of the organization of this mosque. We came here to condemn a very bad issue that's profiling or Muslim Islamophobia, and everybody said, I think is finished it. But everybody consider, every American, I'm saying as an imam, think that you are the person who is profiled. So the pain of that profiling is the same thing that we are feeling this time. So please participate, fighting with profiling Muslims or Somalis or any ethnic group or any, we have to fight with that.
Today in the press release, I appreciate all the imams and everyone who came out to stand against injustice against the Somali community and all American community. The imams teach us our faith. They teach us always that our faith teaches us to prevent any attacks against America, to protect America even with our lives. So we're American. Again, we're not representing something else. We're Somali Muslim American. So it is only that it's only an American thing when Drew reported the violations of human rights against Somali Americans. And it's un-American to shun and blacklist imams and community activists to try to speak for the voiceless. We also encourage local law enforcement and federal law enforcement to report any abuses committed by their office and protect the constitutional rights of all Americans, no matter what their race or religious belief and affiliations are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I said, we'd like to take a couple of questions if you have to answer as much as possible, and we have a follow-up. Go ahead.
Jelani, this is for you because you talked first about the investigation, the DHS investigation. Is this a demand of CARE, or is this from Congressman Ellison's office?
So Congressman Ellison already sent a letter to start an investigation, and the response from the Department of Homeland Security is that the Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Office has started the investigation. What I mentioned is a different request, a request for the Office of Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security to also conduct an outside investigation to a certain extent. And so those two be a parallel investigations, because we need to really build trust back, because now we actually not are talking about fear of profiling. We actually have evidence from within the TSA saying profiling is happening. At an outreach level, I mean, we're talking about the role that Mr. Rhodes had is the basic level outreach to the community. He came to our mosque, he visited us, he interacted with people when people felt that they needed help for traveling, or even just to visit his office and pick up his business card. That is the type of engagement people have. If we're going to profile people, specifically Somali Americans, for just visiting and asking questions about travel issues, that is extremely troubling for our community. Thank you.
So there are two
Requests. There's one investigation that is on the way, there's one that we've requested.
I just want to add for you that AINA, Islamic Association of America, Masjid Da'wah, all the mosques, the Somali American community, Confederation of Somali Community Minnesota, the Diaspora Worldwide Network, all of us are requesting independent investigation, commission investigation. The Office of Civil Liberty, as Jailani indicated, that they work for the government, we don't consider they are independent. We're looking for the Blue Ribbon Commissioner who are independent. This is a very important to us as a proud Muslim American community. So we cannot let down these things. And as I said, that we will have a follow-up meeting, and that follow-up meeting is that what steps can we take? And we are urging our fellow Minnesotans, we are urging our fellow Americans to stand with us and to say once and for all, end racial profiling. It's unacceptable, and we are requesting that the people of this great country. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Waxaa halkaan maanta isugu yimid sida aad u jeediin aad markhaati ka tihiin hay-adda CARE oo ah u taaga mar walba muslimiinta Maraykanka, Confederation of Somali Community of Minnesota, Somali community leaders all across the United States of America, AYANA, Islamic Association of North America, Masjid Da'wah, and dadkan kale oo qiimaha leh dhammaan halkaan isugu yimid. Waxaan halkaan isugu nimid waxa weeye waxaanu ka soo horjeednaa heybsooca lagu sameynayo dadkeenaan muslimiinta ah ee qaasa dadka Soomaaliyeed. Laakiin heybsoocan waxaanu leenahay waxa weeye waa inaan dadka Maraykanka ka codsanaynaa in horta marka ka dhacdo number 1 in dhacdo investigation ka madax bannaan Department of Justice. Waxaan leenahay waxaa loo baahan yahay office-ka oo independent commissioner in la abuuro oo arrintan baara, because waxay soo saaraysaa shakiga aan hore u qabnay. Haddaan nahay jaaliyadda Soomaaliya Maraykanka muslimiinta shakiga qabnay marka ay boorada marayno in lagu dhibo, in marka dadkeena maalmo ay soo dacwadaan, waxay fursaddan qaali noo tahay inaan u mahad celinno Andrew Rhodes oo ah ninkii whistleblower-ka ahaa oo arrintan ka shifay. Waxaanu jecelnahay dadka kale oo law enforcement-gaana markay arkaan in sharci lagu xadgudbo inay arrintan report gareeyaan. Waxaan u mahad celinayaa media ka soo qayb galay. wixii su'aal qaban oo Soomaaliya waa ka jawaabi doonaa, laakiin arrintan ka seexanayna maaha. Waxaan ogeysiinaynaa dadkeena muslimiinta Soomaaliyeed ee Minnesota iyo meel walba ku nool oo barnaamijkan daawan doono inaan u istaagno xuquuqdeena asaasiga waddankan ku leenahay. Ha iloobina culummada badan oo qaarkood bay ka gabadaan. Ninkii la oran jiray Martin Luther King wuxuu ahaa wadaad kaniisad buu ahaa, wadaad masiixi ayuu ahaa. waa ku faraxsanahay maanta culimmadeena Sheekh Abdulrahmaan Sheekh Cumar iyo Sheekh Xasan Jaamici iyo Sheekh Mursal iyo dhammaan culimmada kale iyo dadka community leaders iyo madaxa kale inay arrintan u soo baxaan. Culimmada waxaa looga baahan yahay in arrintan ay u istaagaan, community leaderada waxaa looga baahan yahay u istaagaan, shacabkeena u istaagaan.